So hi everyone, I'm here with Noel at the Ronald McDonald House. Noel, talk to us about Ronald McDonald.
The mission of our charity is to provide care, comfort, and support to families that have seriously ill children.
Okay.
And this house was built as a Ronald McDonald house back in 1989. This is our computer room.
Okay.
And we have Wi-Fi throughout the house, and we have 2 desktops that families can utilize.
Very
And
nice.
For families staying at the house, they can stay as short as 1 day to as, it's unusual, but we do have a family that's here in over a year. Average length of stay last year for us was 8 days at the Ronald McDonald House. Families can be referred to the house from any hospital in Orange County, and the criteria is twofold: the condition of your child and the distance away from the hospital. And so children coming in here, they're not going to get a physical just so that they can play soccer. It's a seriously ill condition, and the distance. So that if you live right across the street from the hospital, you're not likely to stay at the Ronald McDonald House. But I live in Riverside or Temecula, out of state or out of the country, that's who we serve here. We have our playroom and TV room. What I wanted to share is that our guest rooms, which we'll able to take a peek in, do not have TVs in them. And we do that on purpose. One is we encourage respite when the families stay here at the house. So 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. is quiet time. And the other thing that we find is that very quickly, families that have a seriously ill child aren't coming here to socialize or to make friends, right? I have a sick child in the hospital, and what they experience, they can very quickly get isolated. So day in and day out, if I'm here for a month and I have a seriously ill child, my routine is basically back and forth. I'm here to eat, shower, and I want to be bedside with my child. And if I have a significant other, we may swap back and forth. The reason why there's no television, we encourage that they come in this communal dining. And what we find is families find strength in others that are going through a similar journey. So when the house is full, we have 20 guest rooms. When the house is full, we put families up at a local area hotel at our expense. Families are asked to contribute, and it's not a fee and a charge, to contribute or donate $10 a night, but no family is turned away for inability to pay. And last year, about half of our families were in a financial position to make some contribution, and the other half just were not. And I know I get questions of $10 a night, who can't afford that? But when you put some of the families that are battling if insurance is going to cover the procedure or not. One family shared with me and showed me their monthly medication ran from $1,000 to $3,000 a month.
Wow.
And had shared that mom and dad had drained out their 401k, because when do you ever tell your child, we can't afford your medication?
Right.
And so when people ask who can't afford that, it's backbreaking. It really is. It could be debilitating for many of the families, the financial burdens, right? And so being away from home as well, I've got work, I've got other children, I've got pets, and I don't live close here. And so those are those expenses as well. So we have wonderful volunteers. Wells Fargo volunteers coming in.
Hi volunteers. Hello guys.
And Orange County House is fortunate enough that we have dinner every single night. And that's not true for all Ronald McDonald houses.
Wow.
Some will only get dinners twice a week. We're fortunate because of the tremendous community support that we have it every single night. We have Wells Fargo volunteers baking goods for us.
What are you guys baking?
Cookies.
All right.
For quality control, I'll normally have to try.
That's right.
Just to make sure families are safe and they're enjoying it.
Very nice.
But when you show the kitchen, the house is open 24 hours a day. We have an awake staff. This is our communal fridge, so any of the foods that the family see here, they have access to. And in our pantry, anything they see in the pantry, families can have access to.
Very nice.
Anything they see on the counters, so some of the baked goods that will be later put here or in the fridge, any of the snacks, any of the fruits, families have access to. So when we talk about home away from home, we would hope that the families feel at home. And just like your kitchen at home never closes, neither does ours. So 24 hours a day, families can make a meal when it's convenient for them. And then for those who have private dietary needs, they have their own fridge and their own pantry.
So what do we got over here,
We
Noel?
have our backyard here, and around the corner we actually have a barbecue grill. So for dinner groups, that wanted a barbecue for our families, they could do so. Whether a family comes here once and never returns, or they come here because of part of the monthly treatment for chemo or radiation, every family completes a survey on checkout, basically asking them, how was their stay, how can we make it better? And what we noticed in many of the surveys, one of the things they appreciate most about the house is the private places to gather, because it's limited in the hospitals. A place to be, or read, to pray, and again, to have those confidential conversations. Last year we had a number of drowning victims that come through the house, and we had a young couple with a 2-year-old son, non-responsive, sent to chalk, no brain activity, and on life support. And the discussion with Dad says, well, that's not really living. And Mom says, I'm not ready to let go. And so, like, what do you do? Right? So the hospital's asking you, like, well, what do we make a decision? It's those conversations that take place here. And why we know is when you go through the house and you ask a family here, and I'll ask, good morning, how are you doing today? Some will say, as private as they are, we're hanging in there, right? Others, because you asked, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you that we're broke. I'm going to tell you that my marriage is on the rock. I'm going to tell you that we're scared because we're not sure how it's going to go today as far as surgery, right? And so that's the nature of our house. That's who we serve day in and day out. And so when we talk about the house being full, last year we were at 106%, and that's the hotel use. We normally run over 90% on a regular basis, month to month. The demand is strong, and it's community support. We had a day of service. One of the companies that it's called ATI, and they brought down nearly 200 of their employees and their families, and they wanted to service around the house, clean, repair, whatever we need. And some of the children that were part of the Helping Cleaning project wanted to do something arts as well. And they just said, how could we leave a footprint or finger mark on our support? And so they were able to write little messages for little children that come through here.
Show our
whether they wrote their name, whether they wrote a saying, whether it's love, a heart, you. They wanted to leave a little mark for the other children that'll be coming through the house. And so that was just a show of support, that they're being thought of and that people do care. And what you'll see around the house, there's 2 plaques. One, there's a gold plaque, and these are permanent. When the house was built in 1989, and we were built as a Ronald McDonald house, so we were not converted from a condo or from apartments. It was built from the ground up as a Ronald McDonald house. And in fact, we were the first house to open mortgage-free, that we had raised enough funds to pay for the building of the house, the lot, and that we were able to burn it when we opened our doors back in 1989. So the gold plaque are permanent placards, and then the other plaque is called a doctor room. And so people, individuals, families, corporations can sponsor a room. At $5,000 a year, they get their name up here, and what happens is they get a monthly report as to who stayed in their room. For confidentiality, we wouldn't put names, but we'll say, say a 3-year-old with cancer came in for treatment this month. So they'll get a whole listing of who stayed, and then families also have the opportunity to write a little note. And so we collect those notes at the end of the month, and we send it to each one of the rooms, and so they'll know, little note from who stayed. And so again, you'll see from individuals to families to Honda Center, Anaheim Ducks Honda Center, Foundation. So to get a sense of what the rooms look like, the space, this is a typical size room.
Oh, this is nice.
Right? And every new family that comes in, the new moms, will get a comfort in a box. And in it are slippers and a blanket and a little note, just to say welcome and to provide some comfort, a warm hug to those coming in through the journey. So they receive comfort in a box, and again, this is the typical size. This happens to have a balcony. They all have a private bath, and get a sense of the accommodation. We do have some spiritual readings from a variety of faiths that they can access, and just to be still And for those who have premature babies, depending how long, whether it's, they're 24 weeks, you normally have to wait till 40 full term before you get discharged. And for those families, they're so excited when they get discharged. They get the baby, they get to go home. We never even get to see the baby that they're here for the longest time. Some will actually make a pit stop and say, oh, here's our twins, or here's our daughter that you've been thinking about and we want to introduce you to. But then the reality is too that some who lose their baby, that don't make it. And we find out one of two ways. One is the social worker will say, family's heading on back, and the child didn't make the surgery. Why we appreciate that is at checkout, we're not asking, can you make the $10 donation, right? It's an expedited checkout for the sensitivity. They hand over the keys and we offer if they need assistance in loading their stuff.
Wow.
And so we'll hear from the hospital and or the families who tell us they came through the door, right? My child did not make surgery. And so for us, it is an emotionally charged environment, and that's the reality of the work that we do. And that's just the reality of what takes place at the Ronald McDonald House. And so really intense, really profound, but it's a haven for many of the families. It's a life vest during the storms of life that many of them go through. Again, we depend heavily on the community to support us, the dinners, the donations to keep our doors open. But that's the work we do. We actually work with American Society of Interior Designers in Orange County chapter. One is to be mindful, right? So that you're not coming into the house and it's not like a fraternity house where you got a chair donated and all that. They're mindful of the color scheme. They're mindful of what is the tone that the family's walking to. Because if I have a heavy burden on my shoulder, I definitely want to come in a place that feels like it embraces me and it's warm, that I feel comfortable in. So we are mindful of the environment.
Beautiful. It is everything, that I saw. Even the sanctuary or the quiet room. I can't remember what you called it, but I noticed how it did hit all of, I don't want to use the religions, whatever someone's belief is. I look up, it feels like a church. I look out, it feels like somewhere that we might, pray. It's just very, very peaceful. I feel very peaceful in here, which is normally not the case with me.
So, Noel, as we're wrapping up this tour, is there any final message? What would charity donation do to help you guys out? Just any final words for folks who are listening to this?
Just wanted to share, if you would like any more information, please visit our website. It's Orange County Ronald McDonald House. And donations are needed to keep our doors open. Again, we have remarkable partnership with McDonald's Corporation, and it offsets about 10 to 15% of our budgets. And so donations are needed, and more details on our website.
All right. Well, Noel, thank you so much, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Final words.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.